is yours.
I am very excited to be here. Going back to late July of 2001, I was not feeling very excited. I was actually at the lowest point of my life. I had been going through horrific withdrawals from 9 years of drug addiction. I was feeling massive amounts of pain, misery, and suffering. I basically had landed in the pits of hell, and I had absolutely nobody to blame but myself. There was only one thing that I was doing right. I was asking myself one great question. Why am I here? Maybe there's a reason for my existence. And after 3 days of absolutely horrific illness, I felt good enough to turn on a television set. And as I hit the power button, I became just overwhelmed with emotion and cried like never before. What came on the television, what happened to be my favorite movie, Shawshank Redemption. And I thought, something is starting to go my way. And as I watched the movie, I get to the end of the movie, and Red, played by Morgan Freeman, says, "Get busy living or get busy dying." And I knew that I'd been killing myself on the installment plan. And there was a part of me that wanted to live. And a few days later, I felt good enough to get out of the house. And I am grateful to my mother for directing me to my first 12-step meeting, which forever changed my life. I met people just like me who suffered the way that I suffered. People who were clean and they found a new way to live. A life that was based upon honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, brotherly love, discipline, perseverance, awareness, and service. And I wanted what these people had because my whole life I wanted to be something other than what I was. I wanted to change. I despised myself. I did not love myself. I didn't even like myself. I wanted to be something, anything but what I was. And these people had given me hope that I could be the man that I always wanted to be. And I became committed to doing whatever the hell I had to do, not to go back to the hell that I came from. Extremely committed to taking every suggestion that was given to me by people who had success. And all I had to do was simply model their strategy on how never to go back to hell and find a different way to live. And one of the suggestions, besides going to meetings regularly, was to get yourself a sponsor. And a sponsor is a mentor who's supposed to guide you through a 12-step program. And I'd been going to meetings every day, and I started to experience what gratitude was, and I had lost the obsession and compulsion to use drugs, and my life was getting better every day, and I was learning new things. And when I had 102 days clean, my sponsor calls me up on a Saturday night, and he says, "Jay, tonight we're not going to a regularly scheduled meeting. We're going to go to a meeting in a jail as a form of doing service." I was a little apprehensive, agreeing to walk into a jail, but I agreed. And we show up at the jail, and we're downstairs, at master control waiting to get cleared into the jail. And my sponsor said, Jay, tonight is going to be a night that you are going to remember for the rest of your life. He said, you are going to chair and tell your story on that side of the jail because the guy who normally comes in didn't show up. I'm going to do the meeting on one side and you're going to do the meeting on the other. And I said, that is not going to happen. I do not speak in front of people. It is my biggest fear in life is speaking in front of people. He said, why? Well, a good addict, of course, has a good story, so I gave him the story why. And what I said was, completely true story. I was in college in my last semester of school. And I got up in front of a class to put on a presentation. And 30 seconds into my presentation, I froze up. I started to get self-conscious. I started to think people were looking at me funny. I started to worry about being judged, and I started feeling really uncomfortable. And if I tried to remember what I had to say, and I would say something, it came out in a foreign language, and I don't know a second language. And I looked like a deer with the headlights on my face, and my armpits were sweating, and my heart was beating real fast, so fast that I could actually hear my heart. And I'm sitting there, froze up, and I got a great idea. Run. I ran out of the classroom, never to go back, never to confront the teacher, never to speak to those people in that classroom, and avoided them the rest of that semester. It was easier for me to take a failing grade than face humiliation. And my sponsor said, wow, that is a great story, but you're in recovery now. And recovery is abstinence plus change. And so far, you have been changing, and you've been committed, and you've been changing in the way that you're practicing honesty and hope and faith and gratitude. And now it's time maybe for you to practice some faith and some courage. And I saw that I had nowhere to run because I was locked into a jail. And I agreed to get up in front of 40 guys in blue suits, which at the time appeared to be 500 people. And I got up in front of them, and I said, I really don't want to be here, which is not a great way to start a speech. Bear with me. Maybe you'll get something out of what I have to say. And I started to speak and tell my story. And about 5 minutes in, I got this awareness while I was speaking that people were listening, people were engaged, and that the words of English were coming out of my mouth, unlike the last time that I did a speech in front of a group of people. And about 20 minutes later, my sponsor is walking over from the meeting on the other side of the room going like this. I couldn't shut up. I had so much to share on how my life had transformed in 102 days. I became excited and I was passionate, and I just wanted everybody in that jail that night to feel what I was feeling and experience what I was starting to experience, to know that they could find a different way to live. And when I opened the meeting up for sharing, people had put their hand up and said that things I said had given them hope. And I realized beyond a shadow of a doubt that if this guy could get up in front of a crowd of people in jail and give somebody else hope, that was my burning bush miracle. I came to believe in the God of my understanding. In that moment, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this non-believer came to believe that there was a God. And not only was there a God, but this God had a plan and a purpose for me. My whole life, I never had a voice. I discovered my voice, I discovered my purpose, and I discovered the God of my understanding, all in one moment, because I chose to practice some courage and get out of my comfort zone and take direction from a mentor. The next day, the world looked like a different place to me because I believed that there was a God. And I knew I had a purpose. And I learned what it meant to live a fulfilled life. A life that's based on constant personal development, spiritual growth, and constant service to others. I believe I was called. My message to you is, discover your purpose and live it, and you will live life beyond your wildest dreams. Thank you.